Welcome to the Bentley Power Civil Site Modeler for Commercial Design workshop. This workshop will encompass learning about the Site Modeler module within Power Civil. During the duration of this class, we will talk about creating a Site Modeler project to store all the surfaces in. We'll go through the project preferences and how those might affect the Site Modeler project and the surfaces within that project. The surfaces that we'll create for the project are a proposed building pad, proposed pond, roadway, parking lot, and drainage channel. These will give us some idea of how to use the tools within the Site Modeler module of Power Civil and how to create surfaces of that nature on our own projects. You have a training guide that'll step you through these options that we'll go through, and that training guide was delivered with the data set. I've showing the training guide here, and you can see that once we start, we'll have a lab and we'll have step-by-step information on what to do and what dialogue to bring up and so forth. Another important thing about the data set is that there are certain files that were delivered. So when you downloaded the data set, it was in a zip file or executable file. And I'll open up that file, and you can see that in that zip file or executable file we have some files for the class, and they'll be put in a certain folder: Data, Geosite, Site Modeler Lab 1, and there are two files. These will be our project files, Ground 10 and Site Plan 2D. Then we have our training guide, which will end up in a training guide folder. And then we have what we've determined to be standard files. These are files that are for each user in the company or organization, and they wouldn't change from user to user or project to project. So we have a DGN library with all our level standards. We have a DDB file for drawing standards. We have a cell library, and we have a Site Modeler project preference file that we may access and use, which has settings for our project. So these get extracted to certain folder structure, and you just need to be aware of that folder structure. So when you extract it to the C drive, you'll just simply use folder names, and it'll place the files in the appropriate location. And that would be Data, Geo, Site, Site Modeler, and then Lab 1, Training Guide, and AVIs as well. Now before we get started, I want to make sure that the data set gets installed and that the training guide has been printed out. And we'll start with the creating a project in the next section.